Now, born of a Senegalese mother and an African-American father, Marcus Goodwin is now ruffling feathers in America's capital city, Washington, D.C. At only 28, Marcus is seeking a political office on the city council, promising to champion the rights of immigrants and minorities. He joins me in the studio to tell us more about his political ambitions. Marcus, a very warm welcome to you for the first time at the Voice of America.
Thank you very much.
Now, this is a huge undertaking, a big ambition. How do you plan to change the political landscape in Washington, D.C., and especially when you look at the immigrant community that is huge, and not everybody is illegal. Most of them will be voting.
Absolutely. I think it's time for us to emphasize our immigrant communities and our new American citizens. My grandparents are in their 80s. They grew up in Dakar, Senegal, lived there most of their life. Now they're American citizens, and they have an opportunity to step up and vote, not only because their grandson is here, but because our sanctuary city status is being threatened by the national government, and we need elected officials here who are going to be intentional about ensuring that our rights are preserved.
I know that the issue of immigrants and minorities are not the only issues that you're looking forward to fixing if you get elected. What are some of the other core issues you're campaigning to, change in this, capital city?
Well, one of the biggest is education and ensuring that everyone has an opportunity to have a fair chance at education, especially people who grew up like me with my mother from Senegal, who had to work 2 jobs to support our family. We need people to have after-school programming and English access programming because so many people come to Washington, D.C. from around the world, and their children deserve a first-class education in the public education system. So I want to direct more resources toward those goals, as well as ensuring that housing is affordable for both homeowners and renters.
Now, when you talk about, changing the political landscape in the capital city of America, and we look at you and one would, be forgiven to think you just graduated high school.
Right.
Where did you get the drive to get into politics?
I saw young growing up in Washington, being a first-generation American from my mother's family, the impact that local elected officials have on people's lives, not just paving the roads and fixing street lights, but ensuring that education is equitable in every neighborhood of the city. And this economic renaissance we see happens so that everyone who's a small business owner to a big business owner gets a chance to participate, and the city government protects and respects their rights.
One of the other issues that you see in D.C. that is raised all the time is the issue of taxes.
Absolutely.
And, people get taxed,
right.
Big time for even if they don't have so much money. And we don't even know where it's going. But then again, also the question of quality housing.
Right.
How do you plan to deal with that?
Well, 2 things. I want us to ensure that our older buildings get repaired and the city government steps up to take a responsibility in that process, but also that there's more regular inspections to ensure that landlords respect people's rights. The other part of it is ensuring that people who are homeowners will get property tax relief if they lived in homes for a long time. My mother has been a homeowner in the same house for over 25 years now, and her property taxes have gone up more than 10 times when she bought the house. That's a problem because she doesn't make 10 times more money. So people like her who are working class have their discretionary income being squeezed. So it's time for our elected leaders to step up and address those issues.
Now, I'm wondering how you have been received in the political arena, because there are those seasoned politicians that have been running the D.C. Council for a long, long time. How is the reception for you? Is it across the board, or are you just resonating with immigrants and African Americans, or are you reaching out to Americans?
I'm really reaching out to all kinds of people because I have such a diverse background. My father being African American, my mother being African, and me profoundly appreciating both cultures while growing up in D.C. I've been to Dakar, I've been to Gorée Island and seen the door of no return, really at the intersection of where both sides of my heritage are from. But I'm also well educated in the United States, here in high school, here at my undergraduate studies, and getting a master's degree from 2 Ivy League universities. So I think that I can communicate across people, and I show them that I'm the most competent and accessible person, and that's what people want in their elected leaders.
Now, when you talk about public safety, because that's another concern, especially in a large city like this one, what would you be looking at to make the people feel a little safer? Because we've seen, you know, cases where there's a lot of shooting.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people own guns here as well. There's a lot of other concerns. How do you fix that? And very briefly.
Well, I think our mayor has done a phenomenal job committing more resources to policing in communities, but we need a structure in the community so that the people can help police amongst themselves. We can't just rely on public servants to respond to every request. People have to hold their sons and daughters, children and neighbors accountable for the actions that happen in their community, and they need the economic circumstances so that they're not inclined to engage in illegal activity.
Maybe in 30 seconds, when you went to Goree Island, because you mentioned that,
right.
What was that moment for you like? You know, how did you feel?
The weight of it still weighs on me because I understand that the global economic consequence of that is what is part of what made the Western and modern world. And the injustices behind it still haven't been addressed. So I want to be a part of how do we properly address this and get to a place where everyone, no matter where you're from in the world, no matter what you look like, has equal rights that are respected and has the opportunity to be great and achieve higher things.
Marcus, thank you very much for talking to us. Marcus Goodwin is running for a seat on Washington, D.C.'s City Council.